Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the October 23rd meeting of the Thousand Oaks City Council. Can I have you all please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can the city clerk please do the roll call?
Councilmember Fox.
Here.
Councilmember Price.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Bill De La Pena is absent at this time. Mayor Irwin.
Here. Request for continuance of any public hearing or agenda item. There are none. And special presentations and announcements. The City of Thousand Oaks is fortunate to have a community that enjoys a strong appreciation of the arts. Those who support the arts improve our community for everyone. We are certainly indebted to the supporters who nurture and foster these cultural experiences. We have with us tonight 2 Thousand Oaks residents who have been recognized for their contributions. I would like to introduce Natalia Steneva, director of the New West Symphony, to join me. Each season, Natalia continues to do a marvelous job bringing outstanding symphonic experiences to the Civic Arts Plaza. And tonight, she is here to introduce 2 very generous supporters of the arts. Natalia?
Thank you. On behalf of the Board of Directors and staff, the New West Symphony, it is my pleasure to recognize Jennifer and Craig Zobeline as recipients of Arts Philanthropist Award of the Year, given by Ventura Arts Council. Jennifer Zobeline is the immediate past president of the Board of Directors of the New West Symphony, and Craig Zobeline is on the Board of Advisors. Jennifer is an organist, author, retired teacher, former corporate secretary, and businesswoman. Craig is a former CEO, organist, and performer, and retired teacher. As residents of Thousand Oaks, the Zobelines support talent and support have had a wide reach in our community. Their gifts to the New West Symphony have made it possible for the New West to present world-class artists for the Masterpiece Series concerts. New West Symphony presents this upcoming January Visions of America concert that Jennifer and Craig Zobeline are also sponsoring. And the concert is featuring Ojai resident Grammy Award winner Roger Calloway. He's a jazz musician and composer, as well as photo historian Joseph Sohm, who is the most published photographer in the world on the Americana theme. We also feature music by Alan and Marilyn Bergman, and if you know them, they are songwriters for Barbara Streisand. Also, we feature a narration by Clint Eastwood. Now back to the Zobelines. The talented Zobelines also share their artistic wealth. Craig is a composer who lent his talent to the New West Symphony's Symphonic Adventures children's concerts by writing a piece, Mozart Not. The children and Mozart himself appearing on stage were thrilled by the work. Craig also performs free shows at University Village in Thousand Oaks and other Southern California venues. On behalf of all of us, I'd like to extend our thanks for advocating for the arts in the community and setting a personal example for financial support. Thank you to Craig and Jennifer.
Thank you, Natalia. We are very honored to be so recognized for doing something we love to do anyway. We raised our children in Thousand Oaks. Both of them attended Thousand Oaks High School and were active members of the band. I remember coming to the City Council in the 1980s when we had funding available from the California Lottery, and we actually convinced the council and the school board to join together, and we raised $100,000 for much-needed band instruments. So you can see this goes back a long way, and we simply love to support the arts. But we couldn't do it without the support we get from the city. We were here when this building was completed, and we've enjoyed it ever since, and we were here when the New West Symphony began. And the symphony really could not exist without the support we have from you, because we do get free office rent and theater credits and support from city officials that is very meaningful to us. It takes a lot to run a symphony, and we gain only 1/3 of that cost from ticket sales, so 2/3 has to come every year from other supporters. So it takes a huge team, and we thank you for being part of that. Thank you.
It is really those generous donors that keep the New West Symphony going, so we are very, very appreciative. Now I would like to ask President Richard Rush, President of Cal State University Channel Islands, to join me. There you are, Dr. Rush. Our second presentation this evening is recognizing the 10th anniversary of Cal State University Channel Islands, the first public four-year university in Ventura County. Dr. Rush, congratulations on 10 outstanding years. You have done a great job building an academic institution that provides successful learning and cultural experiences that have benefited thousands of students. Can you tell us what's happening at, what are we supposed to call it now? CI.
CI.
All right. Can you tell us what's happening at CI right now?
I can. Thank you, Mayor Irwin, members of the council, City Manager Mitnick. Thank you for the honor of being with you this evening. We are very, very pleased to have the opportunity to speak with you for just a few minutes about California State University Channel Islands. My philosophy in starting the university has not changed in the 10 years that we have been offering classes, and that is to broker opportunities for students throughout this region. We have been gratified to have wonderful partnerships with Cal Lutheran, the community colleges, the school districts, and indeed our extended partners as far north as Santa Barbara. The purpose of all this, obviously, is to provide opportunities for students to develop a workforce, to foster a vigorous economy, to have a quality of life that is enriched and enhanced not only by what the students perform, but also by our faculty, staff, and community members. The second principle is to have a public-private partnership. As I'm sure you're very well aware, the state of California has not prioritized such things as higher education, and indeed cities, I would venture to say. And as a result of this, we have to rely upon public-private partnerships in innovative ways to provide opportunities for these students and indeed for our communities. So we are very gratified by such support as we have received from the City of Thousand Oaks, a wonderful partner, a wonderful supporter over these 10 years. And on behalf of our students, our faculty, our staff, our graduates, and all those who have benefited by your interest and your support, I want to say thank you this evening, and we look forward to many years ahead of partnership in the benefit of this entire region. Thank you for letting us be with you this evening.
And we have here a proclamation in honor of Cal State University Channel Islands, now known as CI, their 10th anniversary year. And I want to say I've talked to a lot of kids that are going. It is truly an outstanding institution, great professors, but I have to say the driving force behind all this is Dr. Rush and his wife Jane. You have done a marvelous job over the last 10 years, and we are very, very lucky to have you in this county.
Well, thank you for those kind words. I'd like to take the credit, but it's not appropriate because the people who have joined me here this evening, as well as those who are unable to do so, are the ones who have created this university. It's my privilege to be part of it.
Okay, so should we call them down for the picture?
Like to have your pictures taken, or are you going to leave it to the pretty face? Please come. I don't know why everyone laughed when I said that.
Okay. All right, now can I have Mark Olson please join me? Is Mark here? Oh, all right. In July 2010, a Ventura County Farm Bureau representative visited our council meeting to advise our community about the impending arrival of the citrus Asian psyllid, an insect that devastates citrus trees. Tonight we have Mark Olson from the Citrus Pest and Disease Prevention Program to give us an update on what is happening with this destructive pest. Mark? Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mayor and City Council. Appreciate this opportunity. Again, Mark Olson with the Citrus Pest and Disease Prevention Program. This was a program created in 2009 by the state legislature to help combat the spread of invasive pests throughout Southern California. And it's actually funded by California citrus growers. And then also with us this evening, we have Ellen Craig, who's with the Ventura County Agricultural Commissioner's Office. And right now, the citrus growers as well as agricultural officials are very concerned about the spread of a specific invasive pest, which you've heard of, called the Asian citrus psyllid, and a very deadly citrus disease that it can carry called HLB, or Huanglongbing disease. Now, the big news that we just had was earlier this year on March 30th, we had our first case of HLB, the deadly citrus disease, in California, and that was in Hacienda Heights, which is in the LA area. We've also just recently had some finds of the Asian citrus psyllid in Thousand Oaks, and so we thought this would be a good opportunity to come and give you an update on what's going on. But just to talk a little bit about this disease and the pest, as you can see, we're very concerned about this disease because there is no cure for it. Once a tree is infected with HLB, it will die. We're basically calling it a death sentence for citrus. Now keep in mind, it's not harmful to humans, it's not harmful to pets or to livestock, but it's very deadly for citrus. And we've seen the destruction that this disease has done in places like Florida, where it's had a significant impact on their economy. They've lost over 6,000 jobs because of this, over $3 billion, and they've actually had to destroy over 1 million citrus trees since 2010. We have a very cooperative program going on between the federal, the state government, local governments, and city governments as well, and also residents. Residents are really key to this whole issue because this pest is spreading through backyard citrus. There's statistics out there that say that 7 out of 10 residents actually have a citrus tree in their backyard. So that's why we're reaching out to city governments to make sure that you are aware and that your constituents know that this disease could be infecting their trees in the near future. Again, we've only found the psyllid in Thousand Oaks. We have not found the disease. That's a very important distinction. But there was that find in Hacienda Heights. The California Department of Food and Agriculture put a perimeter, a quarantine around that find, and really restricted the movement of citrus materials, and also tested a lot of the plants in those specific areas to see if there was any other infected plants. And the good news is that they haven't found any more infected plants in that perimeter. That's the very good news there. But they are concerned that the disease will eventually spread outside of that perimeter into other areas. And what they do is they remove the tree, they got rid of it. That's the only cure right now for HLB, is that you have to remove the tree and get it out of there. And CDFA has a very important detection and trapping program to monitor the movement of the psyllid, and constantly testing plant materials to see if it does have HLB as well. They have over 44,000 traps in conjunction with the Agricultural Commissioner's Office all around California, and some of those are in Ventura backyards and probably Thousand Oaks backyards as well. And they also do extensive monitoring for the environment to see the impacts of the environment of their efforts. But really what we're here to do is say this is a call to action for homeowners. Homeowners can take this issue into their own hands. We're asking people to get in their backyards and just check their trees monthly or whenever you're watering or pruning, and just be familiar with the pests that are actually on the tree. And if you actually see the psyllid, or you think you found the psyllid, then what you need to do is call the hotline. There's actually a hotline that's set up, and it's 1-800-491-1899. And an agricultural official will actually walk you through it and let you know if it is an Asian citrus psyllid, and may actually send a representative out there to check your tree for you. But what city leaders can do, and what we're asking cities, is to work hand in hand with you guys. And really how we're doing that is we have a Facebook account, Twitter account. We'd like you to link up on those. We have a website that we're trying to direct people to, which is CaliforniaCitrusThreat.org, where residents can get more information about the pest, about the disease, and also see pictures of both. We're also working through your city. We have a PSA that can be played on your local government channel. So it's all these different ways of working together to try to get this information out to residents, because it's really a battle that's being fought in people's backyards. And we think we have a good plan in place. Like I said, it's a very collaborative effort, and certainly working with local governments like yourselves is very helpful for us. A lot of times people may not know who their state senator is or state assembly person is, but they know where City Hall is. So they will come here oftentimes, even though they don't know whose jurisdiction it really is. So that's our purpose of coming here, let you know that we are a resource for your city, and certainly look forward to working with you in the future. So thank you again very much for this opportunity, and we can answer any questions that you may have.
Do we have any questions? All right, we will certainly make sure that we have a link on our website to your Facebook account and your Twitter account.
Okay, thank you very much. And then I also left some brochures on the table over there in case any residents want to grab one on their way out.
All right, thank you very much. We recognized the importance of the arts earlier in tonight's meeting, and at the Civic Arts Plaza, we're certainly doing our best to bring our community a wide variety of performance experiences. The key person responsible for making this happen is our Cultural Arts Director, Barry McComb. And there's Barry right there.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and members of the Council. It's my distinct pleasure tonight to present to you a brief overview of some of the programming that we have coming to both of our theaters this spring. As you'll remember, one of the changes we've implemented this year is to actually split our season into 3 pieces. So we're just in the middle of our fall-winter season. We'll be launching a new season in January, and then another season in late spring. So to start out this evening, we're going to start with the Kavli Theater, and we do, as always, I came prepared with a PowerPoint. Starting off our January season, we have the new Shanghai Circus. This group has been here before. It's always been a favorite. If this is a show you have enjoyed, you want to come this year, because this is the last time we'll be bringing them here for quite a while. We're actually looking at a new company out of China that we'll be bringing in January of 2014. Next, we're very excited because after many months of efforts, we have secured a performance with Kathy Griffin. If you are a fan of Kathy's, I really don't need to tell you much more than that. She just recently went on sale this last weekend, and tickets were very strong. So if you want to come see Kathy, don't wait very long, because I'm sure we'll be selling out. If Kathy is not your cup of tea, we also have Kathleen Madigan. Kathleen is probably one of the top stand-up comedians in the country, sells out theaters across, and she's also a past winner of the American Comedy Awards for Best Female Stand-Up. From a theatrical side, we also have Ed Asner will be performing in his one-man show, FDR. This is a show that actually debuted at the Pasadena Playhouse a couple of years ago and has since traveled throughout the country to rave reviews, and we're very thrilled to have Mr. Asner bring the show to us this year. When it comes to dance, we have Savion Glover coming. Savion is probably the premier tap dance dancer in the world today. And besides a dancer, he's also a musician. So his show will actually be a mixture of dance and music. And if you've not seen him, it's just an amazing experience, and I think will be truly one of our magical presentations this season. We also are going to have a special Cinco de Mayo weekend kickoff. On Friday, May 3rd, we're bringing the Mariachi Divas. This is a Grammy Award-winning all-female mariachi band. So we're having them on Friday night. Cinco de Mayo's on Sunday this year, so it's a great way to get yourself in the spirit for the weekend. And finally, in the Kavli Theater, as far as the foundation shows are concerned, is our annual production of Sesame Street Live. This year, Elmo's coming back with Can't Stop Singing, and of course we'll be joined by all of his friends, Cookie Monster, Bert and Ernie, etc. Moving on, of course, Theater League is continuing their season of Broadway shows. They'll have Dreamgirls here in January for a week's run, followed by Hair for a week's run in March. The Hair is actually new Tony Award-winning production of this musical that obviously has been a favorite for many, many decades. Moving on to our Distinguished Speakers Series, as you'll see here, there's really a rich lineup of speakers that they have. Of course, interesting, you'll notice that over Mr. Lance Armstrong, there's a question mark. They really haven't decided what to do, and interestingly, last night we had their first kickoff of the season, and they asked the audience how many people would like to see Lance come and how many people would like somebody new. Surprisingly, it was an overwhelming response that Thousand Oaks would like to see Lance Armstrong come. So we'll be interested to see what ultimately they opt to do. We also have our resident companies. Cabrillo Music Theater will be presenting their production of Your Good Man Charlie Brown in February, followed by everyone's favorite Grease, which will take place in April of this year. Of course, New West Symphony, who you just heard a lot about, they have 4 of their season concerts. You heard a little bit about Visions of America, which is going to be a spectacular kind of multimedia concert this year. And we're very thrilled because the photographer whose work this production is based on will be exhibiting some of his works in the Kavli Theater Gallery to coincide with the concert. And then we also have, of course, our ballet resident company, Pacific Festival Ballet. They'll be, in addition, of course, to the Nutcracker, which will take place in a couple of months here, they'll be bringing The Secret Garden as their May performance. Moving on to the Sheer Forum Theater. We recently just debuted a new series, which is in our cabaret setup, which means on this floor we have cabaret tables. We do table-side cocktail service. And the new series is called The Laugh Pack. The photo you see there is actually Wendy Liebman, who was our first headliner with that series just about a month ago. And basically, it's 4 stand-up comics who headline clubs across the country. We have a house band that starts playing a half an hour before the show starts, so you can come in and sit down and enjoy music beforehand. And then we bring in very talented singers who will croon you some of the Rat Pack favorites from that time. And with our first offering of it, again, it was a huge success, so we actually have 4 scheduled this year, and we're already talking about extending the schedule into our next season as well. Then we have the Musical Theater Guild. These are staged concert readings of rarely performed Broadway works, which takes place on Sunday afternoons. They have 2 offerings coming up in the next few months of the spring. The first is Chess, and then followed up by Cater to Fair, which is a very fun production they'll be doing. If you're a fan of Late Night Catechism, which has not been here for a couple of years, Sister has a new production now. So she will be coming here with a special Easter engagement for her new show, Will My Bunny Go to Heaven? And I guess you'll need to attend to find out what the answer is to that question. But that will be here on March 30th and 31st. And finally, another new offering we have in the Scheer Forum is a new dramatic theater series, which is produced by classic and contemporary American plays. This is also a staged reading series that really presents hard-hitting works of contemporary American plays. It's a company that was founded by Bonnie Franklin, who some of you will know from One Day at a Time. And because of her relationships throughout the industry, she's always able to attract top-notch talent to perform in these productions. For Tally's Folly, which is the first one on March 16th, we're very excited because our two stars for that will be Marion Hinkle, who, if you're a fan of 2.5 Men, she plays Alan's wife on that show, and also Ari Gross, where if you're a fan of Castle, he's one of the featured performers on that. So we've got two really top-rate actors coming in, and then that will be followed up with The Baby Dance in May, and we're still waiting to find out who will be the cast in that. These are just a few of the offerings that we have coming up. Our new program guide, which is pictured here, will be coming out into your mailboxes in early November. Tickets for all the shows I just talked about will go on sale on Saturday, November 10th, with the exception of Kathy Griffin, which is currently on sale. But what I really want to emphasize, when I stood here just a matter of months ago as we were coming out with our fall program guide, there's a couple of shows that weren't included in that, one being Natalie Cole, and the other one being Brian Adams, who was here just a couple of weeks ago and sold out. We have several offerings that we're not legally at liberty to announce at this time. So what you want to do is be sure and visit our website frequently, sign up as a follower on our Facebook account or our Twitter, so that when we make these offerings public, you'll be aware and will be able to get tickets to those shows. So that's a little sneak peek at our program, and I'll be back in probably about another 4 months telling you what's happening over the summer. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Barry. And you have really done an outstanding job bringing all those diverse new acts to Thousand Oaks. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Last night, the speaker series had Steve Wozniak, and that was very interesting. And now we have public comments, and our first speaker was at the speaker series, Dr. Elsley. Not speaking, of course, but listening to Mr. Wozniak.
Enjoying the WAS's presentation along with everyone else. My name is Richard Elsley. I'm a resident of Thousand Oaks, and it is my pleasure to be here to tell you about the next talk in the Discovery Center's Science Speaker Series. The Science Speaker Series, the purpose of it is to bring in scientists who are doing exciting, cutting-edge work and who can describe it in a way that anybody can understand and enjoy. Not very many scientists can do that, but we found some. Our next talk is November 1st. That's Thursday of next week. And TOTV, we have a slide here. Dr. Donald Cohn, who is an MD and laboratory director at UCLA, will be talking about gene therapy. This is really exciting. If you have a disease that you get because there is a defect or a mutation in your genes, gene therapy puts a corrected gene into you, which will generate the protein that you need, the one that your gene is not producing, and therefore cure you of the disease. This is relatively early stage, but there's been successes with retinal diseases, some forms of leukemia, and with Parkinson's disease. So this will be a really fascinating presentation. This will be Thursday, November 1st, at Baxter Healthcare in Westlake Village at 7:30 in the evening, 7:30 to 9 p.m. For more information, you can go to our website, which is sciencespeakerseries.org, or call the number that's listed on that website, which is 805-905-8168. We have 3 more talks that will be given in the spring. In January, we have one on how our local oceans are being affected by climate change. The news isn't good. In March, we will have a presentation by 4 local school teachers who spent the summer doing research in the rainforests of Central America. And now they're back to motivate and excite their students and you on what they discovered. And the third talk, the final talk, will be by Jean-Michel Cousteau's second in command about the programs that they are doing worldwide to help save our oceans. So please come to the Science Speaker Series.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Elsley. Can I have the city clerk please announce public comments?
This is the time and place for public comments. A speaker card is available for those wishing to address the City Council regarding items on the agenda or in a subject within the city's jurisdiction. All remarks should be addressed to the council as a whole. All documents for City Council and the official city records should be presented to the city clerk prior to speaking, and speakers are requested to state their name and community of residence for the record. Under state law, public comment matters may not be considered by the council unless listed on the agenda, but may be referred to the city manager for administrative follow-up. We have 8 remaining speakers, and pursuant to council standards, speakers are allowed 3 minutes. The yellow light displays when you have 1 minute remaining.
Thank you. And we have up next Mr. Douglas Tapking.
Good evening.
Dr. Tapking.
My name is Douglas Tapking. I know the drill. My name is Douglas Tapking. I'm a current resident of the city of Thousand Oaks. It's nice to see you tonight. I'm also the executive director for the Area Housing Authority. And it's in that role I come to you tonight with what I think is very exciting news for the city of Thousand Oaks again. We were successful in our application for the tax credits for the Los Feliz housing project. You may recall that in 2005 we sat down and we dreamed together to provide additional housing in this city. And when the redevelopment agency still existed, you had the foresight to say, let's buy property, let's land bank that property, let's put this together for future development. None of us expected that it would take this long to get this project up and moving. 5.5 years is what it took. 2 applications in order to do it. But after some serious redesign and work with staff, we were able to do so. Sometime in February, we will expect to be putting sticks in the ground for 36 affordable housing units. That's phase 1. Phase 2, during the same time, will receive a new application, which will be an additional 20 units on that same site. Now, you may remember that this is the property that's located behind Gardens of the World on Los Feliz. With your help, through the Development Agency, we took $5.5 million and put into this. We secured the property, we did the initial design, we did the initial requests to the state for the tax credit program. What's the value of that tax credit today? $12 million for phase 1. For phase 1. When we're all done, this property will be approximately, at build-out, about $24 million. Sometime in 18 months, 2 years from now, we would expect to be moving people into this property. It was your vision and your work that made this possible. It's one of those wonderful times when we can say the city was not the problem in getting this together. The market tanked. And that's what took this time. Thank you very much. We will keep you fully informed as to when this goes into development. You'll be coming out for what we hope will be a grand time, and we will take new applications for our residents. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Tapking. Our next speaker is Sue Engler. And Sue will be followed by Debbie Gregory.
Good evening, council members and staff. My name is Susan Engler. I'm a resident of Thousand Oaks, and I'm here tonight because fall, and October in particular, reminds me of where I had to be 7 years ago. And each of you knows that I had a personal story. I came to the city council, and I asked for your help because I really was in a situation that we and my family could not solve without you. So I'm here because important to me to share with you how strongly I feel about the job that you do as a council and as staff and as a city. I really appreciate that. I live here. My husband and I raised our 2 children, and we're really pleased that we can look at our city council and know that you have our back. Thank you.
Debbie Gregory will be followed by Natalie Green. Good evening, Ms. Gregory.
Hi, Debbie Gregory, Thousand Oaks. I hope Mrs. Irwin will not have the city manager or city attorney try to do damage control after I or others speak at public comments. She has done this in the past, showing she is weak and that they do their bidding. With that said, today, the Ventura County Star reported that the state found that the $6.6 million taxpayer giveaway to the Auto Mall was not a valid obligation. The city manager is threatening to join forces with the Auto Mall and use our precious resources to sue the state to help them. This clearly was not a valid obligation. There was not a contract, and many residents, Mr. Mitnick, will be happy to testify for the state if the city and Auto Mall sue. It was also revealed this week that Mrs. Irwin accepted political contributions from the Auto Mall that violate our campaign finance law and had to return them when caught. Regardless of rhetoric, an incumbent's record shows their priorities. Jackie Irwin's record is very troubling. Irwin voted to deny residents the right to vote and elect, and instead appointed her supporter to 3 years left of a 4-year term, with the election only a few months away. She could have appointed him for an interim term, but did not. This is the second time she denied residents the right to vote. Irwin voted to approve a huge LED digital display sign that no one wants except her political contributor, the Auto Mall, on the scenic 101 highway. This will come soon after the election. Irwin voted to give her and her family lifetime health insurance, costing taxpayers in excess of $1 million over time. Irwin's vote this June to reduce $100,000 in funding to the Teen Center, while she voted to give the billionaire owner of the lakes another $400,000 for 11 parking spots, speaks volumes. Irwin also voted to pay even more to already overpaid city manager and city attorney who earn more than the vice president and chief justice of the United States. You have the power. The election is in 2 weeks. Irwin's voting record is where she stands, regardless of what she tells you in flyers. Vote her out on November 6th. Please join me and vote for Mick Ferris and Al Adam, who will place residents' needs first instead of special interests or self-serving interests. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Gregory. Our next speaker is Natalie Green, and Natalie will be followed by Julia Farfan.
Hi, I should have sat closer to the microphone. My name is Natalie Green. Good evening, council members and mayor. I'm a senior at Westlake High School, and I'm sorry I don't have a PowerPoint, but I actually wanted to go back to the presentation with the arts department. I've been in the music department in our public school system since the 4th grade. I play percussion, and up to this day, I've always been in band. It's kind of the only thing I know. So I really just want to thank everybody for being supporting the arts to this day, despite all the cutbacks in education. I know it's hard for everybody. It's affected everybody in different ways, especially the schools. But I like to be able to say that I wouldn't be the person I am without the music program that I've been a part of. Thank you.
Natalie, thank you very much for coming this evening. Our next speaker is Julia, I'm sorry, the writing is so light. It's Farfan, right? Okay.
Good evening. My name is Julia Farfan, and I'm a senior at Westlake High School. Hello. I'd also just want to start off saying thank you to Dr. Rush, although he's not here in the audience anymore, for providing higher education to us seniors out there who are right now applying to college. Definitely thank you. And also, about the Civics Arts Plaza, really this year presenting a sort of diversity in the events that's been planned. I would just like to say thank you, and that's it.
Thank you very much, Julia. Was this the government assignment? You guys had to come to the city council meeting? Wow, you really picked the very hardest thing to do. I took a few pictures with other students. That was probably much easier than what you just did. Thank you very much for coming this evening. Our next speaker is Mr. Nick Kidwai.
I begin in the name of God, who is most beneficial, most merciful. Nick Iqbal Kidwai, resident of Newberry Park, and last time I checked, still Director Concerned Citizens, Thousand Oaks. Honorable Mayor, I guess this body does not show any respect to any citizen unless you are maybe a special interest. I filed a complaint last week regarding the contributions of the mayor, and except for an acknowledgement that the complaint was received, to this day I have received no word, and in fact no satisfaction to the complaint except for one item, which was so egregious, taking so much money from the auto dealers. If TOTV will show this page, that's what the form looks like, where the contributions are made. I basically am showing the food form because this is dinner time, and the maximum limit is $380 per business or per individual, and there's 3 contributions, 2 from Cisco's and 1 from Holdren's, which is a steakhouse in Newberry Park. And isn't it kind of odd or funny that all 3 restaurants gave $380? I mean, these are the kind of things that, I mean, you don't have to be an accountant or that red flags come up, because this is not writing a check or getting a credit card authorization for $380. So either a lot less food was spent or a lot more was done, but since the limit, the legal number is $380, and I was led purposely down the wrong path by staff by giving me information about the FPPC, which is very lax. We passed an ordinance in 98 that specifically asked that the city clerk investigate these kind of things, and the district and the city clerk recommend these charges to the district attorney. And, well, of course, nothing is going to be done. Well, here are the advantages of making $380 of food, TOTV. That banner exceeds both the time limit for the city for having banners like this, as well as the size, I believe. It's been there for the whole year, I believe, and they are allowed for only 30 days, and maybe an extension for 2 more months. I kind of know the owner because, in fact, I went there, and they have a location in Goleta and in Santa Barbara. The owner is from Santa Barbara. Santa Barbara has high standards. They don't allow these kind of things. But not here. We used to have high standards, not anymore. That's the hamburger Wendy's with a sign on the roof. I mean, I've sold signs, and we have an aversion for signs in this city, so much so that political signs are almost not allowed. But anything goes. Thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you, Mr. Kidwai. And next we have Mr. John Fonte.
Good evening, Council. Good evening, everyone at home. And thank you, Nick, for what you do for the city, because this city needs to be exposed for a lot of the things they do. As I said, John Fonte, Thousand Oaks. I would like to comment on the recent events regarding the council election. As was said before, last week Mayor Irwin was found to have accepted multiple illegal contributions from the auto dealers. The day after, that's the day after, her supporter and appointed city official, 2 committees, Rick Lemo, tried to deflect some of the attention from her and attack another candidate in the race. As you may know, Lemo works for Rick Caruso, the real estate developer and owner of the Lakes next door, who pays $1 a year rent to the city. Lemo made a baseless charge to the district attorney that has since been refuted by the governing body, the California Fair Political Practices Commission. This is just dirty politics, plain and simple. 3 or 4 years ago, Lemo viciously came after me for exposing the truth, and I wasn't even running for anything. I asked you then to fire him off the city committees he's on. You ignored me then, but again, I'm calling for Lemo's resignation or firing by the council. The himself appointed council member, Joel Price, recently reappointed Lemo to the Traffic Commission and also appointed Pete Turpel to the Planning Commission. Mr. Turpel is currently charged with federal crimes. Mr. Price, don't you know any honorable people to appoint other than those two? Why do you tarnish your own public safety enforcement badge on them? Lemo has never followed norms that you yourselves as a council have to follow. All I can ask is why? Why do you let him be an embarrassment to the city? Or was it orchestrated? I would also like Mrs. Irwin to return similar illegal contributions from the auto dealers for her 2 prior elections, 2004 and 2008. Actually, I believe the law requires those contributions to go to the city instead. So it'd be a good little contribution to the city. Lastly, I'd like to point out that my review of Mrs. Irwin's campaign statements show that the vast majority, maybe even upwards of 80% or more, are from those who either directly do business with the city or stand to gain financially, either directly or their organizations. The city needs campaign finance reform to ban these type of contributions like other cities do. Enough is enough. Thousand Oaks is more like Bell every day with you on it.
Thank you, Mr. Fonte. All right, for our last speakers, I'm not sure if I am reading the card, but there's Josephine. Are there a number of you, or is that... Oh, okay. Why don't you both come down and introduce yourselves. Good evening.
Hi, my name is Charisma Nagarkutty. I'm a current resident of Thousand Oaks, and I'm a senior in Westlake High School.
And I'm Josephine Strauss. I'm also a current resident of Thousand Oaks and a current senior at Westlake High School. We just want to thank you for changing the menu at the cafeteria, because last year was really hard for us to focus throughout the day because the food was kind of not very healthy or supportive of nutrition, and this year it's much better. So thank you so much.
Yes, definitely. We actually came the first day of school expecting the regular menu, and then seeing the salads and the chicken and the different options, it really helped a lot of the students who are vegetarian, who are vegan and stuff. So thank you so much.
Thank you for letting us speak tonight.
All right, thank you very much, ladies.
That's what I'm talking about.
All right, Mr. Mitnick, do you have any follow-ups for public comments?
No, none.
Okay. Consent calendar. Any items to pull? Okay, I actually am going to pull 7C. And then we have a speaker on consent, Mr. Kidwai.
Nick Kidwai speaking on his favorite subject, the consent calendar, which is supposed to be routine, but hardly routine in this city. I mean, if we cannot even get fundamental blocks of democracy correct, and I just found, I used to carry this all the time. This is the U.S. Constitution and the preamble and the Bill of Rights, all in this little booklet. And if the founders ever saw these minutes of the city, they would be crying or throwing up, I don't know, or both. TOTV can just show the minutes. There it is. Thank you so much. Doesn't show up too well, but basically all you have is names. They won't tell you what was said. In fact, I pointed an egregious error of disrespect to the judicial system, that we had a judge that is from Newbury Park that submitted a speaker card, a statement card, and his name did not say Honorable Judge of the Ventura Superior Court, which the other judges and other people that came over here was in the minutes. But no change was made, or at least I'm not aware of it, because, just ignored. I mean, you can punch somebody or beat somebody up, but the worst insult is to just ignore them. And that's what this body does. And that's why I implore the citizens that we really need to make a change. And to be honest with you, I'm not on any side, because, the minority is, if you remain silent and let injustice happen, you're just as bad as the other people. Thank you for not staring me down, Mr. Fox. I really like you. Thank you. You are a wonderful man. Wonderful fire officer. Coming back to number E, repairs on 401 West Hillcrest. The citizens, a lot of them don't know that the old city hall across from the Oaks Mall was considered a safety hazard and was going to be demolished. I was on a committee to find out other uses for it, and it was because of people that came over here and an architect that was allowed 15 minutes, and we gave a presentation that we have that building useful and bringing money to the city, except, again, people say, this is a great city. Well, why do you come and criticize? Yeah, the city is great, but the city government is not. You are being sued by the people. You cannot get your act together, and you hide things again on the consent calendar. With 10 seconds, I would just say that this agreement that Mr. Fox and company and Jackie did with the mobile home parks, dagger, is really a dagger in the heart of Newbury Park residents, and it really is horrible that it's being allowed to go. That's number F.
Thank you, Mr. Kidwai. I had a question on 7C. I wasn't clear. The cost of the software package is $55,000 total, and then
since I was not here when the project was originally launched, I'll allow Jonathan Surratt from our department, who's managed the project.
Okay.
Yes, that's correct. Actually, the original contract, Madam Mayor, came out to $48,000, but this is just an extension of the services for hosting and annual maintenance to the software, which is an increase of $7,000, which then takes it over the $50,000 threshold.
So the $7,000 is an ongoing yearly maintenance fee?
Correct.
Okay. And we don't have to purchase the software again, though?
No. We've already purchased the software and the licenses. This is an ongoing fee that pays for hosting services as well as ongoing maintenance to the software.
Okay, thank you. I just wasn't that clear from reading this. All right, thank you. Somebody like to move the consent calendar?
I would do that.
Nobody over here.
I'm sorry. I thought you were looking for questions. I'll move approval of the consent calendar.
Vote, please.
The motion carries 4-0, and the ordinance title for F is an ordinance approving development agreement by and between the City of Thousand Oaks and 1200 Newbury LLC relative to development of property located 1200 Newbury Road, DAGR 2012-70287.
Thank you for the support over there. All right, I'll look in that direction again, maybe next time. Public hearings, item 8, there are none. And we are moving on to department reports, 9A, 2011-12 citywide goals and objectives, one-year status update report. And the report is going to be...
Yeah, Madam Mayor,
okay.
I should have probably mentioned this when we asked about continuance items. If there's no objections from the council, I'd like to recommend that we move item 10A up on the agenda. I think a lot of folks are here. And I'm sure they're just can't wait for a riveting report on goals and objectives. But
Are there any objections? No. All right, why don't we do that? We will move to item 10A, the Council on Aging Annual Report. Yes.
This has got to grow.
I was thinking that myself, yeah.
Where's the work order?
All right, so Dave Grimm is the chair on the Council on Aging, and he's going to be presenting the report. Good evening, Mr. Grimm.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, and staff. As the Mayor said, my name is Dave Grimm, and I'm honored to be the chairman for the Council on Aging. First off, I'd like to have some of the folks who are really the wind on my wings stand up, please. Will all the commissioners please stand up? Let's see, I think I remember a couple of them. Jim Sheridan, Nick Fotheringham, Len Loomis, Roberta Kopaz, and Marty Shentis, our backbone. Thank you, gang. And could all the Sandpit members who are here please stand up? These folks have been dedicated for so long in a lot of our projects. Thank you again for your diligence and devotion. Thank you. I know Francine, I went off script, so senior gone wild. Woohoo! Tonight we are going to present information to you about programs that Council on Aging has implemented or partnered to accomplish its task in representing the senior population. We will start with Jim Sheridan, 2011-12 Commission Chair, to talk about our accomplishments of the past year.
Thank you, Dave. Good evening, Mayor, Council, staff. Through partnerships with other community agencies that share our goals, we've had the opportunity to present information about senior services to a wide variety and in new and exciting ways. And we've also been able to reach a few more boomers than we've been able to in the past. This year, we had the opportunity to participate in the Rotary Street Fair. We hosted a lunch at the Goebel Center and participated in the Senior Congress. Thanks to Commissioner Harry Narkin. Harry's not here, is he? The Energizer Bunny's taking a nap. Harry Norkin has produced our new newsletter, The Senior Buzz, and not only has he came up with the idea for it, he also writes it, he finds articles, and he gets in his car and delivers it. Harry is a great example of commissioners at work. As always, the Commission served as liaisons to outside agencies. The Ventura County Area Agency on Aging, the liaisons for that are Commissioners Fotheringham and Healy. Commissioner Shintez is liaison for the Retired Senior Volunteers Program, and Commissioner Narkin and myself serve on the Goebel Center Commission. Televised meetings have become one of our greatest outreach resources. At each meeting, professionals are invited to speak, sometimes individually, sometimes as part of a panel on experts. Some of the topics that we've had in the past year include when living alone is no longer an option, the changing in Medicare, motivation for fitness at any age, humor in aging, how to put more life in your living, and the Ventura County Public Health Center update was just very recently. But our most popular topic this year was Village to Village. This is a new concept that's becoming very popular nationally, where people take care of people. We had over 162 people attend this event. It was so large we had to move over to the Shear Forum to accommodate the overflow. And we wish to thank the theater staff and TOTV for making that happen. It was a grand event. At the Senior of the Year Awards dinner, 5 amazing candidates were honored, and Mayor Pro Tem Claudia de la Pena presented Ed Hutchsmith as Senior of the Year. Ed volunteers for numerous organizations, but lays thousands of hours for the Disaster Assistance Response Team, or DART. At this time, I would like to invite Commissioner Fotheringham, the chair of our Senior Adult Master Plan project, to discuss the next portion of our report. Nick?
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, staff. Thank you, Jim. Before getting into the details of our report on sample implementation, there are some important things we wish to highlight about the project. Sample implementation is successful because we have 5 volunteer implementation teams, each headed by a team leader with a Council on Aging advisor, which are empowered to develop the plans and strategies necessary to succeed. These volunteers are so committed that over 100 meetings were held this past year and thousands of volunteer hours were applied to this effort. It's only fitting that we recognize these many individuals. Tonight we are going to change things up a bit and ask each team leader to present a brief summary of their team's accomplishments and goals in this changing journey. So let's start with Brenda Birdwell, Chair of our Assistants and Volunteer Team.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, and staff. My name is Brenda Birdwell, and for the past 2 years I've had the pleasure of being the chair of what's now the Combined Assistance and Volunteer Team. The Resource Center project has been the focus of our effort for the past few years. Since you heard the project details at the September 11th City Council meeting when you approved it, today I'll provide a summary of what's happening in the next couple of hectic months. As you know, Conejo Connections will help promote existing services and events and help match volunteers to agency needs in our community. It's a fabulous partnership between the Oaks Mall, City of Thousand Oaks, Council on Aging and Youth Commission, the Conejo Recreation and Park District Retired Senior Volunteer Program, Conejo Youth Employment Services, and Senior Concerns. We've already recruited all the volunteers needed to initially staff the center and have developed an amazing core group to lead them. In November and December, there will be intense training planned by the training team. Equipment, phones, and data will be purchased. The websites will be tested by our technical team, and the marketing team will develop signage and ads for print. We've recently been told by the Oaks Mall management that we'll have the guest services counter downstairs in the entrance by the food court. This is a great location. So this term, our goal is to open the center January 2013 and operate it with a group of volunteers through October 31st, 2013. Again, I want to thank everyone who worked on this for the past several years. Go team.
Thank you, Brenda. Now I'd like to ask Paul Knorr, the chair of our health team.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, and staff. The health team on the Council on Aging has the mandate of promoting well-being and healthy aging for older adults in the Conejo Valley. We do this by identifying health needs, by forming partnerships, and by providing programs and educational opportunities for seniors. As one example, with the much anticipated opening of the Ventura County Healthcare Agency Clinic on Thousand Oaks Boulevard, we continue to interface with them to make sure that the facilities they have can support programs. They have numerous locations and places that are available for educational opportunities, for classes, so we're going to work with them to make sure we use that efficiently. We have a great team of volunteers, and they have a truly impressive resume of backgrounds. I wish we can talk about them, all of that, but we don't have time. There are a few here today. I'd like them to stand up and be recognized. Anybody on the health team here? We have a couple of people. Would you stand up just for a second to be recognized? There's just 2 folks. Thank you very much. We have a very active group. We have up to 13 people meeting on this. It's very impressive, the capabilities we have. This year, we identified 4 specific priorities for the health team: walking programs, depression in senior issues, nutrition, and disease management. Walking was at the top of our list for obvious reasons. Walking actually contributes to the other 3 priorities. There are many benefits to walking. They include reducing the risk of osteoporosis, heart disease, Alzheimer's, obesity, depression, and many other items. We are very excited to present the concept of Conejo Walks. This is a program that we are building from the ground up, and we are doing this in partnership with another team, with the recreation team of the Council on Aging, and also in partnership with the Conejo Parks and Recreation Department.
The program will be providing facilitated group walks. We'll be encouraging individual walking. There will be monitoring of walking activity. We are going to solicit sponsors to provide incentives to people when they reach certain levels of walking. We hope to have educational opportunities, and we're very excited about that. It is in the planning stages. We're aiming for a soft launch in January, and maybe a more robust launch later in the year. And the program will be administered through CRPD, through their website. So we encourage you, please keep that in mind and spread the word that there will be many opportunities to walk, which is just a wonderful opportunity in Conejo Valley. Lastly, there is another prevention program that we are taking part of. November 13th in Grant Brimhall Library, osteoporosis. The program is called Fit to a T. And this is provided in cooperation with Dr. Cheryl Lambing of the Ventura County Medical Center and the National Network of Libraries of Medicine and U.S. Bone and Joint Initiative. The program is going to include bone density testing. It will include information about bone disease and how to prevent that. It's for men and for women. People don't have to wait till they're older to be worried, concerned about osteoporosis. The younger we get involved in this issue and pay attention to it, the better. You can register for this through the Council on Aging website. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Paul. I'd now like to invite Elise Klossman to address us on behalf of the housing team.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the council, Scott, like old home week. I'm Elise Klossman, and I have been honored to be the chairman of the SAMP Housing Committee for the past 4 years. I'd like at this time to ask my team members to stand if they're here. Come on, all you housing people. Oh, gee, 3 of you. Okay, great. Thank you. This is a really hard-working group. Our team meets regularly with a diverse group of housing organizations, including the Ventura County Housing Authority, the City Housing and Community Development Departments, many mansions, Moving Seniors Forward, Seniors Real Estate Specialists, California Senior Living, and the county organization made up of planners and developers and architects and community leaders. This group is known as HOME, Home Opportunities Made Easier. The team is continually seeking more information about what housing is currently available and what we think the city may need in the future, both for current seniors as well as upcoming, the boomers who are going to be retiring. We're looking at alternative housing options that might be available. One of the most interesting things that we discovered in our boomer survey in the spring of 2010 was that 47% of the respondents said no, they would not, or they were not sure that they would have sufficient money for their housing needs when they retire. This is a group of 300 people in the city of Thousand Oaks. So we are trying to discover ways that would come up with alternatives, some non-traditional ways to help you make decisions that will meet the needs. The past year, the housing team partnered with some existing organizations. We helped with the village-to-village discussion. We established a drop box at the Global Center because there were people who said, you know, I really don't like living in my house alone, and I'd like for somebody to come and live with me. So we put a drop box and asked people, you know, would you like to share your home or would you like to live with someone? Very successful, and actually more than we expected. We were very fortunate to be able to partner with Home Share Ventura. They have a grant which enables them to do background checks, which is a very expensive kind of thing that is required when you're trying to match people. So we were lucky to be able to partner with them, and we are continuing that. Several members of our team have been served at the Global Center for the senior activity evenings, where we give information and provide kinds of activities that people who are seniors can come to the Global Center and find out more about what they need to know. As a panelist on the Ventura County HOME conference in May, I chaired I was on a panel actually, where I had the opportunity to discuss how well and what great foresight the City of Thousand Oaks and the Council on Aging had in putting together the Senior Adult Master Plan. The keynote speaker, who was from out of town, said, actually there was only one city in the United States that was really looking into doing something about that. So when it was my turn to speak, I said, au contraire, madame, the City of Thousand Oaks actually is doing this. So I commend you for that. I'm so proud to be part of this. We're really working hard on this. We're looking for the future. We want to do, as I said earlier, looking at non-traditional types of housing. We know that there are physical limitations for seniors, so we're looking at that aspect. We're looking at single-family dwellings in the whole city. We're looking at the possibility of secondary dwelling units. So we will be coming to you with some ideas, and we appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Elise. I'd now like to invite Allison Barnes to tell us what the recreation team has been up to.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Council, and staff. This year, our team gave the highest priority to two areas: finding more space for exercise and trying to attract baby boomers without alienating older seniors. In other words, trying to find programs that fit a wide range of age groups. To meet these goals, we did the following. Excuse me. Recreation team members met with Newbury Park High School to partner for more recreational space. CRPD has moved forward with new senior programming at that location and is also starting a woodworking class. Orchard Community Center will be adjusting classes for seniors, as will the Goebel Center. This year, CRPD Board of Directors accepted the name change Goebel Adult Community Center and a new tagline, Connect, Enrich, Invigorate. Our team concluded that these changes would help attract and inspire a wider range of age participation. Our team gathered data on who attends Goebel into a report. We found surveys across the nation asking and reporting on what baby boomers' trends and needs may be as they enter the senior category. This coming year, we will organize this information and see how the City of Thousand Oaks looks as we provide recreational services. We collaborated with the Assistance Volunteer team on a database for the Resource Center, as you've heard. We created a Goebel packet for the free tax assistance program. Andrea Covell and CRPD have made the program guide for adult classes easier to find. Now they are in front of the brochure. In the coming year, our team would like to put a stronger emphasis on the benefits of physical exercise. Most studies agree that the best defense against Alzheimer's is exercising to a sweat several times a week. We are partnering with a health team to start a walking program that touches three bases: providing movement, utilizing existing space, and getting folks to walk at their own pace and ability. We have a wonderful hub of activity and center for information at the Goebel Center. The rec team is interested in making this center a vital and inviting place that appeals to all adult ages. We will find and support ways to enhance the feel and taste of the center on a limited budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Allison. And now would Sherry Phoenix tell us what the transportation team has been up to.
Thank you, Nick. Mayor, council, and staff, I am Sherry Phoenix, and we have a great team of people that meet once a month at the Transportation Center. Our team is tiny but mighty, and we get a lot done. Our team's mission is to improve the quality of life for Thousand Oaks seniors and all residents by advocating for enhancement and maintenance of our city's existing high-quality public transit. I would like the transportation team members who are here tonight to please stand and feel the love. Thank you, Sandy and Jane. With the help of Transportation City staff, we achieved some pretty impressive accomplishments this past year. Dial-A-Ride, the paratransit system for seniors and people with disabilities, saw dramatically higher advance reservations. We sought to increase advance reservations by 50% by December 2012. Through education and awareness, advance registrations are already up by 80%. This, in turn, allowed us to meet another goal, which was to decrease wait times for Dial-A-Ride users. The advance reservations enable transit staff to plan and execute routes more efficiently. Prior to fall 2011, the wait averaged 15 to 16 minutes. Now the wait is below 6 minutes. One of the top rider requests has been for longer Dial-A-Ride operating hours. Done and done. Dial-A-Ride now starts earlier in the morning and runs later in the evenings, and the city added a total of 14 hours a week. We were also able to meet a number of citizen requests to improve the bus stop at Los Robles Hospital by adding a bench, a shelter, and a bus schedule. We have an ambitious set of goals for this coming year and look forward to pursuing them tenaciously. Residents have long complained that it takes too long to get where they want to go using existing bus routes. But if we can establish a 5th bus route to serve Central Thousand Oaks, the travel time on the other 4 routes will drop considerably. The city continues to implement stopgap solutions, such as recent changes to the Green Route. Now, the Green Route has a terrific 90% on-time record, but it takes much longer to complete this course. It's an ongoing problem that impacts seniors and a host of other residents, such as students and people who work but don't drive. We feel it's time for a lasting solution and are advocating for a 5th route to be implemented in fiscal year 2012-2013. We will also be monitoring a Saturday service demonstration project that's being rolled out in the first half of 2013, thanks to the awesome efforts of the amazing city transportation special analyst Mike Hauser, who was able to get a grant for it. Perhaps our most innovative goal is to design and implement an East County Citizens Transit Advisory Board so that everyday riders will have a seat at the table as discussions continue around future contiguous Dial-A-Ride service between the 4 cities that comprise East County. The team will also design and hold quarterly trainings aimed at demystifying the bus system and helping seniors feel more comfortable using buses in general. And of course, we will be supporting the Assistance Volunteer team in their launch of the Caneo Connections Resource Center. Finally, our little team that could is looking to recruit more members, so tell a friend. That's my report, and thanks for hanging in there until the bitter end.
Thank you, Sherry. And thank you to all the teams for the outstanding work and dedication to this project and to all the projects you work on in our community. The overreaching goal of all SAMPIC teams is to provide information to the public. Essential to the success of the SAMP project and the entire suite of Council on Aging programs will be the continued development of outreach to seniors and boomers so that they are aware of life-enriching programs and services available in Thousand Oaks. The Commission recognizes that the city is currently undergoing major fiscal challenges, and we work hard to keep SAMP as a project within minimal fiscal resources and minimal staff resources, but with numerous volunteer resources. And thank you for your continued support for the Senior Adult Master Plan project. Chair Grimm will conclude the Council on Aging report.
Thank you again, Nick, and our wonderful SAMP volunteers. Going forward, The Commission reviewed the outstanding success of the speakers series and receptions at each Council on Aging meeting and concluded that it should continue this year. With Commissioner Sheridan leading the program team, we have a great lineup including Medicare changes in November, brain fitness in December, communicating with older adults in February, and dealing with depression and mental health in May. Don't forget, tomorrow is the last night of the Boomer Boot Camp. A few tickets are still available at the box office to see Steve Vernon, CBS columnist and author. This keynote addresses shares effective, realistic strategies for integrating your finances, health, and lifestyle to live long and prosper. Oh well. This has been an exceptional series, very well received, and we don't have the final numbers yet, but we believe we have raised a little bit of money for Senior Concerns Meals on Wheels. In addition to the speaker series and outreach, the Council on Aging, with the assistance of the SAMPIC teams, chose 5 additional priority items for 2012-13. Open the Community Resource Center, Caneo Connection. Implement Caneo Walks. Continue housing surveys and provide education about housing options. Continue to develop senior adult exercise space outside of Goebel walls. Monitor progress on a 5th bus route and weekend service. We invite everyone to attend a Council on Aging televised meeting to hear valuable information or share a milestone in your life. They are held the first Wednesday of each month at 1 p.m. in the boardroom here at City Hall. For information, you can email councilonaging@toaks.org, call 381-7362, and yes, we are on Facebook. We are on Facebook, so like us. Please, like us. And don't forget, if you're trying to get Medicare, or if you have Medicare, come and hear Betty Berry's tips and information on changes at our November 7th meeting. We are a resource for you folks. Come to us if you have questions or if you have thoughts that we could pursue to benefit the senior population. You've been very supportive, but your biggest support has really come through this young lady over here, Francine, who is our helicopter den mother, and make sure we stay on the straight and narrow. Thank you again. We're very proud. It is a pleasure and a privilege to serve this council, the city, and its citizens. We do have several copies of the buzz that I'll leave up here with the clerk that you're more than welcome to look at. And I'll let you get on with the business of the city then. Thank you again.
Thank you. All right. Can I have a motion? Ms. Bill de la Pena.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This one is an enthusiastic motion because, as always, I am just incredibly impressed with the work that our seniors do for our community under the leadership, of course, of Francine Spriegel. And I like the term helicopter den mom, but I know that is an affectionate term. So I congratulate you and for all the work that you've done, for the progress that you have made, and for the vision you still have for our future and for our seniors, for our graying population in this town. I thank you from the bottom of my heart and move to approve the recommendations.
Comments to the motion? All right. I would like, Mr. Grimm, thank you very much for the presentation, and the Council on Aging and the SAMP team. I know I'm always very effusive in my praise of you, but really what you guys do to impact the senior community in Thousand Oaks is truly, truly incredible, and we are all very grateful. So with that, I will support the motion. And can I have a vote, please?
Motion carries 4-0.
And now we will move to the Department Report 9A. And Rachel Wagner, our public information analyst, will be presenting the report. Ms. Wagner?
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Irwin, members of the City Council. Tonight I will be presenting a one-year status update report on City Council top 10 priorities, citywide goals and objectives, budget performance measures, and benchmark comparisons for fiscal year 2011 and 2012. The document before you serves as a progress report for what the city has accomplished over the past fiscal year. And it covers the period beginning July 1st, 2011 through June 30th, 2012. Data included in the report was compiled based on input and statistics from all city departments. The report is divided into several sections and begins with an introduction and overview of the organization, followed by updates to citywide top 10 priorities, goals and objectives, performance measures, and benchmark comparisons between the City of Thousand Oaks and 4 other Ventura County cities. Each year, City Council sets 10 specific priorities on which significant programs, projects, or policy matters they would like to see accomplished during the upcoming fiscal year. Let's take a brief look at each of the priorities for fiscal year 2011-12. Top priority number 1, maintain a balanced budget where recurring revenues sufficiently cover recurring expenditures. 2, maintain existing levels of frontline police services. 3, continue negotiations with the fire department, including relocating Fire Station 35 in Newbury Park. 4, fund the 10123 interchange project and complete the Wendy 101 bridge widening. 5, complete and implement Thousand Oaks Boulevard specific plans environmental impact report. 6, resolve outstanding mobile home park issues. 7, work with the Park District to implement joint projects and programs, including Lang Ranch Community Park. 8, enhance environmental programs, including solar at Hillcrest and achieving energy self-sufficiency at Hill Canyon. 9, acquire more open space and effectively manage existing open space. And lastly, comply with the Cultural Arts Commission's recommendations, increase attendance at the Kavli Theater and Share Forum, and bring in more popular contemporary shows. A complete list of these priorities is on page 6 of the document. This chart shows the status of the 10 priorities as of June 30th, 2012. All 10 priorities have been completed in some manner during the fiscal year. 4 have been fully completed and are finished, while 6 have been either partially completed or components have been implemented and are ongoing into the next fiscal year. Detailed summaries on the status of each of these priorities can be found on pages 7 through 17. City Council also sets 10 broad citywide goals which can be revised every 2 years. These long-standing goals cover all city departments and provide a solid foundation for the organization. Goals A through J vary from providing open and responsive government to enhancing public infrastructure and continuing commitment to cultural services and ensuring succession planning for the future workforce. Goals A through J are listed on page 18. During the fiscal year 2011 and 2012, and 2012-13 budget preparation process, staff developed over 250 objectives which fall within each of the 10 citywide goals we just saw. Each objective was placed into one of 5 status categories. Out of the 255 specific objectives, the majority, 67%, were completed in fiscal year 2011-12 and are ongoing into fiscal year 2012-13. 33 are continuous and ongoing into next year, and the 16 in progress are currently being implemented. I also just wanted to note that ongoing and in progress have been placed into two separate categories. However, for a variety of reasons, they meet similar needs, and moving forward, they will be grouped together in future documents. 8 objectives were placed on hold for the year, much of which is attributed to lack of funding caused by the dissolution of redevelopment agencies. For example, plans to build a family entertainment center in Newbury Park were put on hold after years of negotiations between the school district and city due to lack of funding for storm drain and land acquisition on Newbury Road. Also, increasing assistance and the supply of affordable housing programs were also put on hold due to limitations resulting from the loss of redevelopment. Here is a departmental breakdown on the status of all 255 objectives. As illustrated in purple, the majority of each department's total objectives have either been completed or parts have been completed during fiscal year 2011-12 and are ongoing into the next year. Also, as part of the budget preparation process, each department developed a mission statement and goal for each of their programs and established performance measures as a way to track progress towards achieving those goals. Several hundred performance measures are listed on nearly 100 pages in the report, beginning on page 71. Benchmarks were used in the document to help compare the City of Thousand Oaks' operational performance with 4 other cities in the region: Camarillo, Oxnard, Simi Valley, and Ventura. For consistency in reporting, the benchmarking data was collected from each city's comprehensive financial reports and look 1 year behind. Actual comparisons of these cities were difficult due to the dissimilarities in certain services provided by each, such as in-house versus contracted public safety, cultural arts, and recreation services. In light of these differences, benchmarking analysis did yield a few noteworthy observations regarding the City of Thousand Oaks service levels. Some example findings include: Thousand Oaks has the lowest police cost per 1,000 residents. Thousand Oaks charges the lowest monthly wastewater rates, and Thousand Oaks generates the largest amount of renewable energy than any of the other 4 Ventura County cities. While Thousand Oaks didn't spend the least amount on total police costs, we did spend the least amount per 1,000 residents. And it's also important to point out that the city consistently ranks as one of the safest cities in the nation with a population of over 100,000. The city's monthly wastewater rates for single-family residents were lower than any of the other 4 cities, at $25.45 per month. And the city generates more kilowatt hours of renewable energy than any other benchmark city. More findings regarding the city's effectiveness are: Thousand Oaks has the largest assessed valuation of taxable property. We have the highest percentage of total municipal fleet using alternative fuels, and Thousand Oaks employees have the longest average service time among any of the 4 comparison cities. The city's assessed value of taxable property is about $23.1 million. 53% of the city's total vehicle fleet use alternative fuels, and as a result, the city has received the 100's Greenest Fleet Award for the past 2 years, and we are ranked in the top 50 of over 4,000 public agency fleets nationwide. Thousand Oaks employees have the longest average service time, and this shows the city's commitment towards retaining and recruiting highly qualified employees. The Goals and Objectives one-year status update report can be accessed online on the city's website at www.toaks.org/citygoals. And copies are also available at the City Clerk Department and at both Thousand Oaks and Newbury Park branch libraries. This concludes my presentation. A complete 2-year summary report for both fiscal year 2011-12 and 2012-13 will be provided next fall. Staff is available to answer any questions you might have, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Wagner. Do we have questions? Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you. I may have overlooked it, but did we also do a comparison regarding salaries? Okay, thank you.
Do we have any other questions? The benchmarking, I think, is actually a great addition. I think it was Mr. Fox that suggested it last year. I was wondering, would it make sense to look at maybe one city outside of Ventura County the next time we go through, maybe like a Valencia or Santa Clarita, something that's similar, just to get a different perspective?
Sure, yeah.
And it's very interesting to see those results, and actually great to see those results. Anything else?
Madam Mayor, actually,
Mr. Fox.
You just kind of made me think of something. With respect to the benchmarking, because I do think it's important that we measure ourselves against like cities. Otherwise, you really don't know if you're accomplishing what it is you want to accomplish relative to what's going on. So I noticed that there was a number of items that we were doing very, very well: lowest wastewater rates, lowest costs for 1,000 residents for police services. Were there other benchmarks that we were not doing as well as some of the other cities that we'd want to strive for?
Sure. Specific ones.
Specifically, in the areas where the council had, like, for example, and some of the TIM goals were specific, obviously, to Thousand Oaks.
Right.
Nobody even has our Arts Commission. We do. So, but were there any that stood out that staff would advise council that, look, we need some policy direction on these things in order to get us to the next level, so to speak?
Well, I think one of the benchmarks that changed from the previous year was our sales tax per capita. We used to generate the most, and now we have fallen behind to Oxnard. So I think that also ties to the goal to, retain a good local employment base and bring in.
Okay. Mr. Mitnick, did you have some other comments on that?
Yes, and we could certainly identify areas where we're coming up short in comparison to others. Water rates is a good example. While our public water rates are lower than the private companies, we do know that some other cities have water rates that are a little bit lower. So we know that that's important to the city council. There are a variety of reasons for that, but even though our water rates are very competitive, our goal, we'd like to be the lowest, so we know we're not the lowest in that area. Transit occupancy taxes are lower than other cities as well. So we can provide, we'll do that by way of follow-up, the areas that we feel we're not where we would like to be ideally with respect to your specific priorities and goals and objectives.
Yeah, because I think one of the benefits of doing this, and for the viewing public, Very few cities do this across the state of California. This is a rarity. We've been doing it now in various forms a number of years, but I think Mr. Minnick needs to get the credit along with the senior staff to really implement this, I think some 8 years ago, where it doesn't get a lot of headlines, so to speak, but every year, every 2 years actually, the council goes through a goal-setting process, and we lay these things out. They are very measurable, and the public can see, is the city doing what the council has set out to do? As an example, we do maintain a balanced budget, but I will tell you that we need to do that by law. While other cities do some things, we actually do balance the budget here in Thousand Oaks, and we make difficult decisions early on where our budget really truly is balanced. We've eliminated positions, we've done a number of things. The other thing that pops out is we resolved the mobile home park issues. That was obviously a very difficult issue. Council wanted to wrap its arms around it, and we did that. So these priorities and these goals are important for a variety of reasons. One, once council sets these goals, it's our ability to hold the city manager accountable and city staff to, are we accomplishing what it is that as a community we're trying to accomplish. The second thing is for the public to see that council has set these goals, and did they accomplish some, all, none. It gives you an idea to, in a sense, give a report card of what the city is doing. And so that has kind of the foundation. I think the goal setting is a really good thing. At the same time, I do think we need to look at always trying to get better. Whether it's a professional sports team or a public safety agency, we're always looking for opportunities to get better. And so I think looking at areas, for example, water rates, we've had numerous discussions on water rates. In terms of the tiers, if other cities are doing it cheaper, we need to look at what those other cities are doing. Now, it may be, for example, in terms of sales tax, that while we want to maintain a strong tax base, we don't want to make the land use decisions that other cities have made in order for us to be number one. But I think it's important for staff to provide council with areas where we could be doing better. And then, of course, those are policy decisions, those are community decisions that we make relative to the type of community that we want here in Thousand Oaks. Land use has always been an issue in terms of the highest and best use. I use the example many times when folks come down and they criticize the lakes next door, that it was really the community and the council that decided we did not want the highest and best use. I think that's been reported on extensively, that we could have put a Walmart next door to us. We could have put a Kmart, a big box that would have been completely inappropriate on Thousand Oaks Boulevard next to City Hall, but it would have got a good return in terms of sales tax. So there's a great example of not necessarily using the highest and best use. So I do think that we need to look at how we can do better, and maybe that can be part of the next presentation when we come back, Mr. Mitnick, for our goals and objectives. But I do want to congratulate city staff for the great job that you do, the great service you provide our residents. I think all of us would agree that you can really count on one hand the complaints that we get relative to city services. You guys do a great job. You make all of us look good, and you make all of us proud to be leading the city. So great job.
We do have one speaker. I do not see him. Mr. Kidwai? Right, and I think Mr. Mitnick wanted to answer Mr. Fox's question.
Madam Mayor, members of the council, we will do this with a goal-setting workshop coming up in February, so we can get back to you relatively quickly. One area that, in looking at this, where we are deficient in comparison to these other cities is the location and spreading of fire stations. And we have a big deficiency there, and that was identified in a 2007 study by outside consultants. So we're working very cooperatively with our fire chief, Ted Smith, and the county fire department to rectify that situation. And we'll have an update for you, an updating council meeting as we work toward that goal.
And yeah, Councilmember Bill De La Pena?
You had nothing? Okay. All right, thank you. I also wanted to thank staff for doing a very thorough analysis of this these benchmarks. if I recall correctly, the benchmarks were a top recommendation by our budget task force back in 2004, I believe 2005, and it took a few years to make that happen. And I think we started benchmarking just, actually not too long ago. It must have been about 4 years ago or so. So this is a work 8 years in the making, and it's very good to see that we have taken up benchmarks, and I think that this is a very good tool to improve wherever we may be lacking. The only thing that I noticed, aside from what was mentioned with fire and wastewater, were the traffic signals and synchronization, as well as the level of service, where there is still room for improvement. So that's something that we could also look at. But thank you very much for a job well done.
Councilmember Price.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, I'd just like to say that in an effort to become more acquainted with some of the city services, I've gone out and worked alongside some of the city employees, and I was particularly taken by some of the remarks about the tenure of the employees, and I've certainly found that to be true in my visits. I've spent an afternoon or morning anyway out at the Municipal Service Center working on city buses, performing CHP services under the direction of qualified people, folks. But I've also, just this past week, went out with the city tree crew, and I have to tell you that those folks work really, really hard. They are concerned. I was really taken by the fact that they were concerned about the traffic and the impact that they were having on the traffic while we were trimming these trees. So it is important to retain quality employees, and this city does an outstanding job of it, and they are all just outstanding.
All right. Would somebody like to make a motion?
Sure. I will move that we receive the report. And again, just to congratulate Mr. Mitnick and his executive team for once again just providing exemplary service, doing a great job. All of you are professionals in your own right, and it shows. It shows each and every day in the type of service that we're providing, because that's what we're doing. We're in the service business. From time to time, folks come down and, in my opinion, they take free shots at the city in terms of single agenda items. But I think by any measurable standards, I've said it for many years now, Thousand Oaks ranks as one of the top cities in the state, if not the nation. And it's because of the people like you and the 300 some odd employees that do the great job every day. So thanks very much. With that, I ask for a yes vote.
Vote, please.
Motion carries 4-0.
Department Report 9B, Social Host Ordinance, and the presentation will be Chief Pentis. Good evening, Mr. Pentis. What do you have to tell us this evening?
Madam Mayor, members of the council, I think it's important to give an update as your police chief, specifically when there's been an ordinance enacted that impacts public safety. The social host ordinance is one of those. Historically, and Mayor Irwin, you remember you were on the ground floor of this ordinance in 2004, 2005. It was enacted in the city of Thousand Oaks in 2006, and it relates to home parties. And part of this, and Councilmember Price knows as a Los Angeles police officer, there are penal code enforcement sections that you can use at parties, at home parties. Very difficult to prove. We partnered with behavioral health, city councils, other police agencies to enact a civil penalty. Most cities in the county were at $500 and $1,000 for a violation. Councilmember Fox was instrumental, as was the rest of the council, in making it a $2,500 civil penalty. If you were 17 or under, you could do community service. 18 and over, you would have to pay this fine. You can make payments. Why did we do this? Well, back then in 05 and 06, we were responding to 600, 700 calls for service a year at home parties. What was occurring at home parties? Violent crimes, fights, sexual assaults, alcohol abuse, substance abuse as a large umbrella with marijuana, other illicit substances, overdoses, the whole health and safety issues. And again, one of our goals as a council, one of our goals as a community, one of our goals as a police department is youth safety. It's something that we've embraced. This was just one layer to keep our youth safe. And you can see on the report over the years the number of citations. At 19, at 07 and 08, that was really the first year. Then a dip, then back up to 21 and 14 and 16. And year-to-date 6. We do about one a month enforcement on this. The other part of this is the education. So far, as an example, this year, your Assistant Chief, Captain Freihoff, and I have spoken to over 7,000 high school students and their parents. And we also educate them about this ordinance and the dangers of home parties. Many things in law enforcement are measurable. Sometimes we don't have hard numbers. I can give you an example of a young woman who received a social host citation, and she did community service. She learned so much from the community service and the lessons from this. She continued and she continues currently volunteering in our community, talking to young people about the dangers of home parties and alcohol abuse and substance abuse. I can also tell you that we do respond to less calls for service at home parties. Do they exist still? Yes, they do. Are we going to them as much? No, but our attitude is one sexual assault is too many. Obviously, one loss of life for one of our youth in this community is one too many. So this is something that we are going to continue to do, continue to educate, and continue to enforce.
Thank you. It's great to have that update, actually. So you think that the lower number this year is because there's just less parties, not, I mean, we're still prosecuting those cases just as much?
I do. I think there's a combination of education and enforcement, Mayor. And I think over years, once you have something, this was very new to the county, it was very new to California. There were social host initiatives across the country in many cities on the East Coast. West Coast didn't see it as much. So this was new for this community, and it takes time to educate the community, educate our youth, educate the parents. You had some parents that were hosting parties. So to get the word out to them and the enforcement, I think you'll start to see a decline. You can see by the numbers we had a spike, and then it went down, then up again, and then kind of a balance. One enforcement a month or almost two, and we'll see how it goes. But I think we're on the downward trend. But with the continuation of both, we'll see what happens the rest of this fiscal year.
And then obviously you're not, when you look at that number of violations, you're not collecting $2,500 from each one. Some are doing a community service. Are there some that you're having trouble collecting from?
There is and that's a very good question, Madam Mayor. That's generally the age range of 18 to 25, 18 to 28, especially people that are adults but are college students, maybe working part-time, have difficulty paying it, and then there's a difficulty in collecting it. In fact, our city attorney is looking into doing an amendment to this ordinance where we could have, as an example, 18 to 25, to use my number, where they could do community service as well.
Thank you. Do we have other questions?
I have some. Go ahead.
Mr. Price?
I was just curious, what types of community service are they performing that seems to be having this favorable impact, at least in the one incident that you've cited?
I am contacted, and we ultimately approve their service, and it could be almost anywhere. Some of the work has been done at our station. Some of it's at schools. Really, any organization. Sometimes at churches. there's really a wide range, Councilmember Price, of the kids. As long as we can confirm that they're doing it and there's some value to the service that they're providing to whatever organization it is.
Mr. Fox?
Yeah, Chief, you mentioned the schools, and I'm just curious, maybe you can get a little bit specific in terms of what kind of programs are we working with the schools in terms of education, accountability? I'll tell you what's coming to mind is I have a couple of sons that are in the Westlake football program, and when they did the orientation, the head coach basically put it out to the players: if it comes to my attention that you're at a party and there's alcohol, you're off the team. Now, I don't know if that's been enforced. I really don't know the particulars, but it seems to me that that would be the type of partnership with the police department and the schools, and that kind of communication with the other area high schools, because we know from growing up, high school football, the parties, they're many times synonymous with alcohol use.
And that pendulum swinging, Councilmember Fox, we have our program that we do at the high schools where there's mandatory education. It's coming up for the winter sports as an example. We have dates set for any student athlete playing a winter sport at Thousand Oaks High School. We will meet with them and their parents. We've done it at Newbury Park, Westlake, and Thousand Oaks so far this year. But the pendulum is changing where if something happens off school, it used to be there wasn't that nexus of any accountability. If it was enforcement by us, it didn't have anything to do with the school, and they didn't take action. But specifically with athletes and other areas of the school, we communicate, we partner, and the school handles the punishment or holds them accountable in some way, and working with the parents. So it doesn't happen again. We save lives. The child's educated. The parents are educated. So we work together as one team.
Right, because as you know, there's a variety of things that motivates a teenage boy or girl. And the removal from a sports team or removal from a student body class or something like that. And there's a variety of things. And so I think all of us are looking forward to that type of relationship between the school district, because I think that's critical. This is one where I don't think we're going to find people out of this, although clearly we're seeing a drop in the numbers. I think you guys are exactly right on target with this relationship with the schools.
And that's just one layer of protection. Just like this ordinance is a layer of protection, the communication and education is a layer of protection. There are other programs that you will be educated on over the next month that we'll start with our fifth graders, a measurable program that'll go through, measure it again at 7th grade, measure it again at 9th grade, that will start this year, actually November 1st.
All right, very good. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
All right. Mitnick?
Madam Mayor, members of the council, to follow up on that discussion, I should share with the council as a whole that the feedback so far provided by Dr. Jeff Barstead, the superintendent of schools, with respect to what Chief Pentis and Captain Fryoff and the others are doing, it's highly positive, and you'll hear more about this, but they're off to a great start. The principals at the schools are very supportive and appreciative, so the partnership that's been developed is working, and a lot of success in such a short period of time. Now the challenge will be to sustain it, because I do worry about the stamina of our police chief and the others, because they're out there sometimes 4 or 5 nights in 1 week. So they're putting in a lot of time and effort.
Thank you. Yeah, we've been talking about doing these parent meetings for a very long time, and it really wouldn't be done if it wasn't for Chief Pentis and Captain Fryoff. You guys are working a lot of hours and gone a lot of nights, but we really appreciate the difference you're making for the youth in our community. All right, do we have a motion?
Okay, I'm going to move we receive the verbal report from Chief Pentis and receive it and file.
Do we have comments to the motion? All right, vote please. Thank you, Chief Pentis.
I just got to make a comment. I don't want to embarrass him, but it's been commented about Chief Pentis. We've got a lot of great police chiefs in this community, but I can tell you one of the reasons why Chief Pentis puts so many hours into youth education, it's truly a passion for him. and he really does go above and beyond, I think, what anybody would expect a commander, a high-ranking official in law enforcement, because of his care for people, and particularly young people in the community. So, Randy, you really do a great job. Thanks very much.
Item 11, City Council as successor agency to TO Redevelopment Agency reports. There are none. Council issues, recommendations, follow-up reports. There are none. City Manager.
That may be true for 5. Madam Mayor, members of the council, I won't plug all the great theater shows coming up because you can go to the website and get that. We heard that earlier in the evening. The next council meeting will be on November 13th. And at this point in time, we have one public hearing anticipated, and that's the Miller Ranch single-family housing project in the North Ranch area. At this point, we have about 3 department reports that we're working on. One is with the County of Ventura. We've been working very cooperatively and collaboratively to bring county clerk services to the City Hall here. I mentioned fire earlier. Fire Station 35, with our fire chief trying to sneak out there, he will provide a riveting update on the progress of negotiations for that station's relocation. He will have it done by then, he's assured us. And then the Auto Mall public improvements, the authorization to rebid the project, that will be before City Council. And a couple of committees will give grant recommendations, the Social Services Endowment Fund and the Community Events Endowment Fund. So we'll have a full agenda that night. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
And I have the City Attorney please announce the closed session.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. We have 2 closed sessions tonight. First one is conference with legal counsel on anticipated litigation, initiation of litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9C1, and conference with legal counsel regarding existing litigation, Langner versus City of Thousand Oaks, case number 56-2011, 00401-022 CU-CRSIM pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9A. And if there's anything to report, it will be reflected in the minutes.
All right, we are now adjourning to our regular meeting on November 13th. Good night, everybody.